All right, everybody, welcome back to the show. Right now, we're talking with Nick Bentley of Northstar Games. Northstar currently has a Kickstarter running for a second edition of their game Evolution and an expansion for Evolution called Flight. Nick, you with us?
Yes, I am.
All right.
Hi.
Thank you very much for coming on the show, Nick. We really appreciate it. So, Nick, we talked with Luke Warren from Northstar back in November about all of your guys' games and Evolution, and we covered a whole lot of ground. So our audience can go check that out on our SoundCloud page at soundcloud.com/bagsandboards. So we just wanted to talk to you tonight and get a nice update from you guys about what you got going on now. So first, tell us about the current Kickstarter. You guys are running it for 2 games at once. The first is the second edition of Evolution. Tell us about the second edition and what's different from the first edition.
Yes, so after having played and gotten feedback about Evolution thousands of times since the publication, we realized there's some things that we can do a little bit better. So there are some cards that need to be a little bit more balanced for tournament-level players. Most people won't notice.
Okay.
We're trying really hard to make the game as good as it can possibly be.
Yeah.
So there are some card tweaks. In addition to that, there is improved art on some of the cards, and on top of that, improved art on something called the watering hole, which is where all the species in the game go to eat food.
Yeah.
So the improved art helps you see the food more easily on the watering hole that's blend in.
Well, having played the game quite a bit in the last couple of weeks, I knew that you guys were doing some improved art, and I couldn't imagine how that art could get any better. But, I mean, I checked out the Kickstarter page, and, man, it got even better. I mean, that is a killer artist. It's beautiful.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, we have this graphic artist, Catherine Hamilton, who's a nature artist. She specializes in art like this. She graduated from the Rhode Island School of Design, which is it's like the Harvard of design. She's one of the best artists you've ever seen doing a board game.
Okay.
And it's so cool to see the stuff that she does for this game.
Yeah, it is pretty fantastic, man. Absolutely. So, yeah, anything else coming out for Evolution, the second edition of it, or is it just the improved art and the watering hole and the updated cards?
There's also some better food bags. I mean, everything is just any rough edge that we can find has been polished to a fine burnish.
Okay, so is it almost like an almost deluxe edition?
Yeah, I would say that. I mean, it was already kind of almost a deluxe edition in its original form.
Yeah, for sure.
Because we got so well funded on Kickstarter, we could afford to make it really, really nice. So this is even beyond that. It's really a labor of love at this point.
Okay, very cool. So tell us about the second thing you guys are doing in the Kickstarter is an expansion for Evolution called Flight. Tell us about the expansion and what it adds to the game. As far as I can tell, the original version of Evolution that you guys took and updated, it had the same expansion to it. But tell us about Flight and what you guys have added to or changed from the original Flight expansion for Evolution.
Right. So one of the things we want to do with Evolution is sort of take advantage of things that have actually happened in real evolutionary history to enrich the game. And flying species have evolved, as far as scientists can tell, 4 times independently in history of the Earth. So it's a very important kind of evolutionary advantage. And it's really interesting because it gives you huge advantages, the ability to escape from predators or find food in ways that other species can't. But at the same time, it's incredibly costly, energetically, to maintain the ability to fly. You have to eat a ton of food in comparison to your body weight. So we've introduced the ability to create species in this game with those characteristics. And so we also have introduced special traits as well that are specific to those species. So they just make the game more rich and more thematic in the way that you would want from a game about evolution.
Okay, very cool. Any other planned expansions to add different traits to species for Evolution that you can talk about at this point?
Yeah, absolutely. So because evolution itself, the real thing is so rich, and because ecosystems are so rich, it allows us to expand infinitely if we want. Now, we have to be careful to make sure that our expansions are as good as the original and keep the game simple and fun. But yes, so one thing that people have been asking for is an event deck. So things like climate change or drought, things that historically have affected whole ecosystems. Currently, there's nothing like that in the game, and we're going to try to introduce it, hopefully by releasing an expansion by Gen Con of 2016.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. And for anybody on the fence about Evolution, I mean, we have been absolutely loving the game. I don't see how that box couldn't just draw people in like crazy in the first place. But, I mean, it is just a great card game. And the thought of adding in things like the event deck and other traits to the species, I mean, because first you've got carnivore. That's kind of the like special thing about the game. If you decide to go carnivore, and then adding in other things like flight, it sounds great, and I can't wait.
Yeah, we love it, and it's doing really well. We sold out our first 2 print runs, and we're quickly selling out of the 3rd one now.
Really?
Distribution. So, we couldn't be happier.
Okay, very cool. So what's it like actually running a Kickstarter for 2 different products at the same time? I mean, I know people do it, but how has that been for you guys? And this is only your second Kickstarter, is that right?
Yeah. So it's been tricky because it's 2 products. But in fact, I think in our case, it's better to have 2.
Yeah.
So because if it was only going to be 1, it would be the expansion.
Yeah.
But an expansion has a limited audience. It's limited to the people who already know about the game.
That's true.
And we think there's still a huge number of people who don't know about it yet who would really like it if they found out about it.
Yeah, that's really true, because a lot of Kickstarters that are doing expansion, they'll also offer a level to get the base game, but you guys are taking it a step further and saying, well, we're not just giving you the base game, but we're giving you this deluxe version of the base game as well.
Right, exactly. And that's one of the reasons I love working for this company.
Yeah.
We try so hard to make the games as good as possible. It's not necessarily financially a great move for us to make a new and improved version of Evolution, because it takes a lot of labor, it takes a lot of money to do it, but we want to make sure that every game we publish is as good as it can possibly be. So we do stuff like this, and it makes it so exciting to work for a company like this. We don't just toss off products. We make sure everything is as good as it can be.
Very cool, man. And is there any plans? I know there's nothing on the Kickstarter right now, but are there any options or plans in the future for people who have the first edition to maybe get the updated cards, or to maybe get the different artwork on the bags or things like that?
Yes, in fact, that is a part of this Kickstarter.
Oh, is
so
it? Okay.
It's included in the stretch goal. So we've already passed the first stretch goal, which means that everybody will get a full deck of second edition replacement cards. So that if people have first edition, they can upgrade it so they can play it as a second edition game.
Okay, so if you have the first edition, you would just pledge the expansion, and then as stretch goals, get the updated components.
Exactly.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
And there are further stretch goals that will allow those same people to get the updated watering hole in the bag and all that.
Okay, very cool, man, because I'm really interested in that myself. Because, man, I mean, I got a prototype of this game about a year ago, and, I mean, we played that, and then when I got the real version, it just absolutely blew my mind how beautiful that game really was. In the end, I mean, I was not expecting that, because, you know, I got a couple decks of cards, and then to get like the really cool die cut, dinosaur as the first player marker and the watering hole. I mean, it's fantastic.
Yeah, thank you so much. It really feels good to hear that.
Yeah, definitely, man. So let's get on to Wits and Wagers Deluxe. You guys, Wits and Wagers is one of my favorite party games. We play it quite a bit. I've got a great party game group. I.e. my family. So we play party games quite a bit, and Wits and Wagers is one of our favorites. Also Say Anything, another one of our favorites. But Wits and Wagers Deluxe is coming out. Tell us about the Deluxe edition, what you guys are adding, what's different, and when will we see that released?
Sure. So we're revising some of the cards, which we do that periodically to make sure all the cards are timely and up to date. But on top of that, the betting chips in the game are going to be heavy clay chips in the style that you might find in a casino.
Okay.
those are very fun to hold and
Yes.
move around in your hand, and they really give you the feel like you're gambling.
Splendor, we're looking at you.
Yeah, definitely.
Exactly. We may have taken a cue or two from Splendor. So they're going to have that, and the plastic currency in the game is being replaced by 6 cardboard currency tokens.
Okay.
As well. The important thing about all this is that even though it's going to be much nicer from a components point of view, it's going to have the exact same price. So this is just a part of our, it's just like in the Evolution case, we're trying to make the game as good as we can, even if it eats into our profits a little bit.
Yeah. That's very cool, man. I mean, because Wits and Wagers is just a great looking game just in general. And I mean, having those updated components would be, really cool. I mean, it's such a good game though. I mean, I can't believe you just want everyone to know about it when they're playing games like Apples to Apples and, your typical Walmart party games. You just Wits and Wagers, play that. You know what I mean? And,
yeah. Well, I think it's slowly happening. We just sold our millionth copy, so it's sort of becoming an evergreen. Yeah, it's becoming an evergreen game, I think.
That's very cool. And, I've been hearing about Wits and Wagers for years and years and years. I mean, there was an old podcast called Totally Rad Show, and, they talked about it endlessly. I mean, a pretty fantastic game. Yeah. And it's kind of become the quintessential convention game, the, party game to run at conventions, too, which I think is pretty special in itself.
Yeah, it's amazing the number of people who contact us with because they want help running a game show with Wits and Wagers.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, I've never been a part of that, but I know every game convention I've been to has had that. So I mean, it's kind of crazy with all the games out there that it just specifically lends itself to that.
Yeah,
for
very
sure,
cool.
Man. So let's talk about other plans for you guys. So what's going to happen with Northstar Games? Are you guys going to continue putting out new party games? Are you guys going further into the strategy game market alongside the expansions for Evolution? Do you have any plans for other strategy games? What's coming out from Northstar in the future? Or what are you guys just talking about?
Right. We're definitely staying with strategy games. It will be a while before we publish a strategy game that is not Evolution, because we're creating a whole system with Evolution, not just the game. So, but there are already games in the pipeline for a couple of years down the road, which are strategy.
Okay.
Our goal is to publish one thing a year on the strategy side, but we're not going to abandon party games. And our goal with party games is also to publish about one game a year, and I think we're pretty close to selecting the one we're going to come up with this year. We came across this one at the New York Toy Fair, which everybody in the company absolutely adores. It received sort of unanimous support from everybody from the moment we all first played. So we're all really excited about that. I don't think I can talk about exactly what it is yet because we haven't signed on the dotted line.
Okay.
But if you want to have me back on, I'll talk your ear off about that one.
Okay, very cool.
Talk about it.
And that seems like a very viable, great strategy, releasing party games and strategy games, because I mean, look at R&R games. I mean, they come out with something, all their party games, and then something like Coal Baron and Chin and New Haven. I mean, they've been doing that for a while now, so it seems like a great strategy for a company.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. I mean, it's good sides and bad sides. On the good side, you're diversifying, just like investing in many different kinds of stocks to hedge your risk. On the bad side, it's two different markets with two different sort of people who buy and different requirements for marketing. So it's more work as well.
Yeah, that's true too. Absolutely. Yeah. And then needing more people working for the company and just more promotions, everything, needing to draw in different people at conventions. Yeah, I can see that for sure.
Right. And there's one other huge thing I want to mention before I stop talking about this. We're also going digital. So we're doing digital in-house. So we've hired developers who are at this point developing mobile games for us, mobile versions of our games, starting with Evolution.
Oh, really?
So that's going to happen as well. Yeah.
So the mobile version of Evolution, will it be more of a pass and play thing, or will it include online play?
It will definitely include online play.
Okay, very cool. That would be a very good game to play online. Good, solid online card game. I think you guys are going to have a big hit with that because it seems like a game that people would like to just pick up a game real quick and play. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, one thing we want to do with it, one reason that's important to us is that Evolution has layers of strategy that not everybody sees. And we would like to win over gamers a little bit more.
Yeah.
I think some gamers see the game, and because it has simple rules, they think to themselves, well, this must be a strategically shallow game. But it's not at all. Its designer is a guy who played Magic the Gathering professionally for quite some time. And it is a very deep and hard game if you want to play competitively.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that people can see that.
Yeah, I think that's one of the special things about the game, and one of my favorite things about games that I think you're right, people don't always see, is that something can be easy to learn, but be really deep and hard to master. You know, easy to learn, hard to master. People say that a lot, but I think Evolution definitely
that's the magic
that.
of. That's the magic of games that can exhibit this amazing emergent complexity where this whole world emerges from just a tiny number of rules.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, for sure, man. And I mean, I think you guys, Tony Topper from Secret Cabal, I mean, he talks about Evolution all the time, but I mean, I think it's out there, but yeah, you're right. It would be, that's something a lot of gamers I think don't get. If the rule book's not, 30, 40 pages, then it's not heavy enough,
Yeah.
But yeah, man, let's talk about upcoming conventions. Where can people come get a demo of Evolution or Wits and Wagers? Like, what's your guys' convention schedule on the national scene and locally for you guys?
So we do a lot of conventions. I think last year we had representation at 70 conventions. We often get volunteers to demo our games, and then we appear personally at some of the biggest ones. So this year will be, Origins and Gen Con and Essen and a number of others as well. And overall, we're probably going to be at more conventions this year than last year.
Okay.
Maybe 120 I'm thinking about now.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's pretty.
Yeah.
That's a big number.
Yeah.
It's a bigger number than I expected. Do you guys do BGG Con?
Yep, we're at BGG Con every year, and I'm there. So if any of your listeners want to come hang out with me, come hang out with me. I love hanging out with you.
Yeah, very cool. We're actually about an hour away from Dallas, where BGG Con is held, so that could actually happen for sure. So
right, that's where you interviewed Luke from our company.
That's right. Yeah, BGG Con last November. So
right.
Luke, I'm sorry, you made me call you Luke, man. Nick, where can we find you guys online to learn more about your games? And where can our listeners find a link to the current Kickstarter, or what can they search in Kickstarter? Because I know it's got a different name than just Evolution.
Right. Evolution Game System is the phrase you should use to search for the Kickstarter.
Okay.
So pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
And we're at NorthstarGames.com.
Okay, very cool. Nick, thank you very much for coming on the show tonight. We've been talking with Nick Bentley of Northstar Games. Northstar has a Kickstarter running right now for the second edition of their game Evolution and an expansion for Evolution called Flight. So go check that out, the Evolution game system on Kickstarter. Nick Bentley, thank you very much for coming on Bags and Boards tonight.